Friday morning, almost afternoon. For some of you who know me and my co-host Warren, who may be living on the East Coast, for you, it's absolutely afternoon. And for all of us today, because this day is that so-called holiday where we show love, spend money on roses, nice dinner, a lot of booze, a lot of chocolate. Happy Valentine's Day to all of you and to all of us. And by the way, if you might be celebrating your Valentine's Day in a much better climate, like the one that you see here, well, hey, happy Valentine's Day to you. We're kind of jealous because we can't be there with sand in our feet and the ocean water is, rushing up toward us. Regardless, let's now start our live stream episode and talk about what's happening in the neighborhood of Bridgeport. So in this episode of Real Living in Bridgeport, let me get my co-host warmed up. He's been a little bit under the weather. Many of us have been. This flu bug that's kind of circulating around, you got to fight it out. So let me get Warren to join us into the studio. How are you, Warren?
Hi, Bill. Happy New Year's and happy Valentine's Day.
Happy New Year as well. And from our mutual friends who are wishing us Happy New Year, 恭喜發財. Come on, people. Give us some of those red envelopes, right, Warren?
Right. Especially when you're married and older.
Yeah, when I know it, man. When we are married, we don't get it anymore as much. So,
right.
So am I correct? You're doling out more red envelopes than you're taking in?
Yes, definitely.
Same for me, buddy. Same for me. And if my wife is tuning into today's live stream episode, hey, thank you, honey, for having such a big ass family where we got to dole out a whole lot of red envelopes.
Right. Same here.
It is what it is. The old cliche, what goes around comes around. So our hope, Warren, is that the more we give, maybe at some point in time, the more we get back, right?
Right.
So let's now move the conversation, Warren, to over the past, let's say, 45 days, as we've entered into new calendar year, 2025, new Chinese New Year, Year of the Snake. Can you drop your pearl of wisdom as to what's going on with the business of real estate? What's changed? What's not?
I mean, pretty much everything has still been the same. Inventory has still been very low. People are still looking to buy, but they just can't find anything on the market. And then also, rates have been pretty stable, I guess, in your sense, which it's not very encouraging.
Well, let me add this part. They've been stably high.
Right. So it's definitely not encouraging.
Right, but Warren, you've heard me share this example with you before. And audience members, I'm gonna drop it again for you. Who cares what rates are if you're not looking to buy? It's kind of like the price of gas. If you've got gas in your tank and you're driving by some podunk gas station in the middle of nowhere where it's 5 cents less than the usual place that you go, you're probably thinking, well, hey, that was nice, maybe made you feel good. But guess what? You didn't fill up. You didn't have to. But guess what, people? When your tank is running on low, wherever you're driving, are you going to be chasing some podunk gas station in the middle of nowhere just to save 5 cents? The answer is no, because you got to fill up.
Right.
And so my point my point with you, Warren, and our social media friends is, let's get real. If you have a reason to buy real estate because there's life events pushing you to do it, people, you just got to do it, because the time has come where you missed the boat a year ago.
Yeah, you're correct.
Right? Okay.
Yes.
Not to mention, let's be real with this one. Let's snapshot in time. Someone that was looking to buy real estate a year ago, fast forward to now, would you agree the cost of housing has gone up a little bit more?
I agree.
So there you go. It's kind of like pick your poison. You can't have
Right.
it. You cannot have your cake and always eat it too.
I agree.
But I second what you're saying. The struggle is real. The demand of buyers is still prevalent. There's not enough great homes for sale. And for those of you selling, Warren, hopefully you'll nod to this. For those of you selling who's not taking the advice of someone like Warren, and you're pricing the property because you're a little greedy and you're unrealistic, well, you're going to sit on the market for a little bit longer, right, Warren? I think you froze on me, Warren, so I'll continue. So with that said, yes, what Warren has shared with you, I think, is spot on. The inventory challenge still persists, but do know this: you've got other options, right? Your other option is to consider buying new construction. Your other option is to relax your requirements, meaning maybe, just maybe, you have to push just outside of the Bridgeport neighborhood a little bit,
Right.
Or you have to increase your budget. That's the other way. Because along the way, here's the other thing that is real: the cost of eggs are going up.
Yes.
Right? So for those of us, and Warren, wouldn't you agree, Chinese people love eggs? I think we love eggs a lot.
Yes, we do.
Yeah. So for all of us who love eggs, I mean, if you want that egg, not just one egg, 2, 3 eggs as part of breakfast or dinner, you just have to drop the extra cents and dimes on it, because it's kind of like, gotta have it today.
Agree.
Yeah. So let's now move our conversation, Warren, to something I've shared with you in the past, and I want to remind our social media audience as to what's possible for you. So what's possible for you is this: all of us face this fork in the road, which is, do you own or do you rent? And by the way, this fork in the road is not just specific to real estate, right, Warren? You could either own a car, you could lease a car. Same concept.
Yes.
All right. You could own a business and be the boss, or you could work in the business, which is rent your time as an employee, right?
Yes.
All right, spot on. See, I'm giving you some crazy examples today. So for all of you watching and listening, leaning in right now, like, what the heck, Bill? Where are you and Warren going with this? I want to now remind you, Warren, and share with you, audience members, for those of you who are continuing to rent, good for you. Landlords love you. Landlords like me, some of my friends, I'm certain some of Warren's clients, we love that you are continuing to rent, because you're helping us build our wealth. You're helping us pay down our mortgage. Why not? Because at the end of the day, whether you own or rent, you're paying somebody's mortgage off. And now the question becomes, should you pay off your own mortgage? And my answer to you is this: if you're not ready, continue renting. However, here is a solution for you to think about. there are solutions to allow you to acquire a property. You can be a renter. You don't have to be a forever renter, but you can be someone that participates in what is called a rent-to-own solution. And what does that mean? What that means is, from me and the organization that supports me, we have a rent-to-own solution called Home Buyer Ally. And this solution is all about helping you to get into a property that you just want to rent right now, and maybe you want to continue renting for a finite, notice how I'm saying this, a finite window of time. And as part of doing that, in the near future, you have an option to purchase the property. So think about that. Why might that benefit you? Well, Warren, would you agree? Each and every time a tenant moves, there's a cost to that.
Yes, there's a huge cost depending on how the tenant is.
That's right. That's right. Meaning each and every year, if you have to look and hunt for your next rental with Warren's help, you gotta apply for a tenant application. You gotta pay for a credit check. You may have to pay an application fee, whatever the setup is. So that's a small cost, but the bigger cost is each and every time you're moving, there's the cost of moving. Wouldn't you agree that's pretty big these days?
Right.
Yeah. So with that, keep that in mind as you are thinking, hey, I'm not ready to buy. I'd much rather continue to rent. And this might be a solution that you should consider, even though you're facing, again, this fork in the road. So, Warren, as we're talking, I want to wrap up today's episode of Real Living in Bridgeport with what I call what if scenario. Can we play that game?
Sure.
All right.
Yes.
So, Warren, let me ask you this question. What if you have an opportunity to sell an estate property from a family member? What are your thoughts behind, like, hey, what must be done to sell it properly? What advice would you give?
It's hard to say because I haven't really personally sold an estate sale. But from my understanding is that you would have to talk to the attorney to see what the process is, and then how far you are into that process with getting the property over to you before you could sell it.
Would you also agree with this storyboard that most estate properties may be a victim of deferred maintenance, maybe some dated decor, etc., etc.?
Completely agree, because I've seen a lot of the estate homes for sale. A lot of times it's pretty old. It's at least like 30, 40 years, super dated.
Super dated, I know.
Lots of problems. Like, yeah, unless you really want to do some TLC.
Spot on. And that is, my friends, the key here, which is you may have to do some TLC, some sweat equity, and so forth. So as part of our conversation about selling and or buying an estate property, do know this. If you may be buying an estate property, if it might be your own family's estate, there's multiple ways to help you accomplish that goal. One of which is, if you may benefit from a gift of equity from your family, that minimizes your need for your contribution of down payment. And then second, if the property is a victim of dated decor and also deferred maintenance, you can certainly consider financing the purchase of the property as is, and along the way acquiring financing to pay for the rehab, the renovation of this family estate property. So consider that as we wrap up today's episode of Real Living in Bridgeport, because I see that Warren had to bounce. No sweat, Warren. I know you're feeling a little bit under the weather. Let me share with you, social media friends, how you can start a conversation with Warren and or myself. All you need to do is simply scan the QR codes that you see here. Both Warren and I are ready, willing, and able to start that conversation with you to help you work through your journey of selling or buying real estate in the neighborhood of Bridgeport, Chicago, Illinois. So as we wrap up, let me ask my music posse to play us out. Social media friends, happy Valentine's Day to my Asian brothers and sisters. Enjoy the rest of your celebration of Chinese New Year.